Well, welcome to the Best Football Show. I'm Brian Baldinger, here daily with a little 15-minute survey of what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, what I'm watching, what I'm looking at from the film standpoint. You can find me all over social media at Baldy NFL, whether it's X or TikTok. TikTok is back right now. YouTube, you name it, Instagram. And then you can download this for free, wherever you can get your apps from. This is an Odyssey.com. Just download it for free, like it, subscribe to it, and watch it. We'll grow with it. So this is the deal. When you're a good team and have been a good team, it's hard to keep your coaches, and that's where Detroit is up against right now. They're on their way to losing a number of assistant coaches. It happens all the time. Last year, the Baltimore Ravens had the number one defensive football. Mike McDonald left to become the head coach at Seattle. He brought some assistants with him. When I played for the Dallas Cowboys in the 80s, we lost Ditka. We lost, Gene Stallings. We lost a lot of good coaches. So you're going to lose good coaches. And I always say this, and I believe this is true. You can lose good players. Guys can retire. You can lose them through free agency. You can lose them through injury. Happens to every team in this league. But replacing good coaches is a hard thing to do. And it's harder to replace good coaches than good players. Because players always come and go. But coaching matters. And so right now, Ben Johnson, I believe he's in the process of signing with the Bears, the offensive play caller for Detroit over the last 2 seasons. Number one offensive football over that time. They scored 68 offensive touchdowns. It's a dynamic offense. Now, there's a lot of things here, a lot of things to unpack. Just with Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions might lose Aaron Glenn. He's in Detroit with a second interview today with the New York Jets in person. He'd done one earlier via Zoom. He was drafted by the Jets in 1994. Had a great career, 15 years, most of them with the Jets, as a cornerback in this league. Was in the scouting department with the Jets at one point. Knows Woody Johnson, the owner. I believe that the Jets will not let him leave for another interview. And there's other interviews lined up without signing him as their head coach. They might lose Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach, run game coordinator in Detroit. He might go and fill the void in Seattle, where they lost Ryan Grubb. Let Ryan Grubb go after 1 year. Offensive coordinator up there. And that's not to mention any other assistant coaches that some of these coaches might take with them. Dan Campbell's staff has been excellent. It's a big part of the success that they've had. 2 back-to-back NFC championship games. Lost both games. But Dan Campbell might lose a bunch of his lieutenants, and that's hard. Now, let's just say Ben Johnson goes to Chicago. It was a disaster for Caleb Williams this year. I'm sure Chicago is looking at the success that Jaden Daniels is having with Dan Campbell as the head coach, or Dan Quinn as the head coach, and Cliff Kingsbury as the offense coordinator. In fact, I said on a bunch of shows this morning, I'm not sure there's a better pairing right now between offensive coordinator and young quarterback in this league than Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels. And all you have to do is watch the 38 offensive points they scored in Detroit on Saturday. It was spectacular what they did. From formations that Cliff has been using since he was coaching Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech or Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. A lot of college formations, tempo, pre-snap reads, stacking plays, outside zone to the right, hit screen to Terry McLaurin to the left. Put it on the quarterback to decide based on what he's looking at. Some very, very firm concepts. And I'm mentioning Cliff and Jaden because that's what Chicago wants from Caleb. And that's what they need from Caleb. Now, a lot of things. Chicago does not have the personnel right now to be able to do what Ben Johnson has done in Detroit. They don't have an offensive line led by Penei Sewell or Frank Ragnow They don't have a line like that. They don't have a running back like Jahmyr Gibbs, a 1-2 punch like Gibbs in Montgomery. They don't have the selfless receivers. And I'm not putting DJ Moore or Keenan Allen or Roman Dunze in any kind of a bad light. But this group is selfless. They block, they produce, and then there is this element that Ben Johnson brought to Detroit of design. Not just design, but when to pull the deceptive plays out. Now, they ran one Saturday night, backfired on them, reverse pass to, Jameson Williams, and it backfired and threw an interception. That's one of very few that have backfired over the last 2 years. Most of them have worked. But what we don't know about Ben Johnson is what I've been saying about Ben for 2 years now. 2 years ago, Hard Knocks went to Detroit, the HBO series that is produced and filmed by NFL Films. They went there 2 years ago, and it was great. It was a great inside look at Dan Campbell, a number of different players. What they didn't do, it was a smart job by Dan Campbell, they didn't really put Ben Johnson out front so people could get to see what he's really like. I don't remember if there's an episode where Ben Johnson's in front of the offense, installing his offense. I don't know what Ben Johnson's going to be like in front of a room, leading 52 other guys beside Caleb Williams. I don't know. We saw Josh McDaniels, who helped Tom Brady to multiple Super Bowls, get to Denver and get to the Raiders, and he was awful in two different spots. He was not a good head coach. I doubt he'll get a chance as a third head coach. We have seen that time and time again. You could debate Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach in Arizona. I would say that he took a terrible franchise. They got him into the playoffs in 2 years. Fell apart when Kyler Murray, tore his leg up and playing backup quarterbacks. But that's the question mark. Ben Johnson might be good for the quarterback, and that's good. Caleb needs stability. He needs an offense. He needs to be protected, and he needs outlets to go to the ball when things break down around him or teams send blitzes at him, whatever. He needs answers more than just scrambling. That's not an answer. So I'm interested to see, and Ben Johnson's been around Dan Campbell a lot. He was with them in Miami. He's been around coaches. So I'm anxious to see what he does as a head coach if he gets that job. If Aaron Glenn, same thing. If Aaron Glenn gets his first crack at being a head coach, will the Jets be patient with him to really, because I would say if Aaron Glenn gets this job in New York, and it's not firm yet, it's not confirmed, so I'm not jumping myself. I'm just saying, what if? If Aaron Glenn gets the job in New York, that's great. They have talent there. They may need a quarterback, and they have yet to build a very good offensive line. Just haven't done it. Injuries have knocked them out. Poor draft picks have knocked them out. If you look at the final four teams right now in the offensive lines, Philadelphia, we see what Saquon's doing behind that. Kansas City, they basically won 3 Super Bowls with this offensive line. Now, moving Joe Tooney to left tackle, it helped save their season. Having taken an all-pro left guard, moving the tackle, putting Caliendo in their guard. Buffalo basically has lined up the same 5 starters just about every single week this year. You got to get that offense line right. So that's that. Now, let's get to the games here. Let's get to Philadelphia on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. If you talk about injuries, the Washington Commanders lost their starting right guard, Sam Cosmi. He's a good player. And they put Trent Scott in his place after he got hurt. Now, he's going to go up against the Eagles' best defensive player, Jalen Carter. It's a handful. It's a handful for anybody. This is the third time this team's played. Cliff Kingsbury knows. Dan Quinn knows. They all know what a record, and now the Los Angeles Rams know what Jalen Carter can do. If you don't have a plan for him on any given play, he can ruin your play. In fact, if you go back to the Week 12 game, Washington and Philadelphia. Washington and Philadelphia that day. It was either Week 11 or Week 12. The Eagles won that game 26-18. But in the fourth quarter, the score was 13-12. Right? And Washington went for it on fourth down, 4th and 2, I believe. And Jalen Carter blew the play up, and it bubbled Jaden Daniels on his run, and Zach Bond knocked him out short of the first down marker. And they were in field goal range then. They could have taken the lead, and it felt like the game just turned on that play. And we saw the game turn on Sunday with Jalen Carter. I mean, there it is, 16-15 game. The Detroit Lions got a safety to make it 16-15. They got the ball. And Jalen Carter, on the next series, punched the ball right out of Kyron Williams' hands. And they recovered it. And it felt like it changed the whole flow of the game, all the way to the point when it was 28-22. And there's Jalen Carter sacking Matthew Stafford on 3rd and 4 for a 7-yard loss. He changed the game. That matchup, Cosme and Jalen Carter, I'm anxious, or Cosme's out, Trent Scott in. I'm anxious to see that matchup against Jalen Carter. He plays almost every play. I don't know if he came out of the game on Sunday against the Rams. I think he played every snap. And he's done that before. If he does come out, it's for a handful of plays. He's been playing the majority of plays, the highest percentage of plays over these last 3 months by a defensive tackle is Jalen Carter. They rotate the other defensive tackle, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Moro Jomo. Like, they rotate the other defense tackles. Jalen Carter plays. Let's go to Kansas City. This is just surface, just skimming the surface here. I'm going to get deeper into these matchups. I'm going to go back and watch all of these rematches because the Bills beat the Chiefs back in Week 12 in Buffalo, 30-21. Mahomes threw an interception on the second play of the game, and Buffalo scored a touchdown off that. He threw another touchdown when it was 30-21 late in the game on the Hail Mary type thing. So he really threw the interception, and that really hurt him. But, they had issues at left tackle back then. Wanye Morris started that game at left tackle. Now Joe Tooney is the left tackle. And although he did give up a sack against Jonathan Greener on Sunday, or maybe it was I think it was Jonathan Greener. It's the first sack he's given up in 5 or 6 starts. So he's played really well out there. But this is Manning and Brady. I mean, they met a bunch of times in the playoffs. They met in the regular season. I mean, we have to watch, this matchup here going forward because it's maybe the two best in the AFC. I'm not leaving Joe Burrow or Lamar out or anybody else. I mean, but this matchup of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes it's must see. It's like watching Josh and Lamar last Sunday night or Saturday night. You have to watch it. So Sunday night, I guess it was. This is the new Brady Manning. And so Josh Allen played tremendous football the other day against Baltimore. Did not turn the ball over. Made an unbelievable throw on the opening drive of the game to Shakir for 34 yards. Read the look. It was a Tampa 2 defense. Brandon Stevens was covering Shakir down the middle of the field. The safeties were all the way out to the numbers. In Tampa 2, it's basically a 3-deep coverage. And Josh sailed it for 34 yards. It was a great throw, great read. And then on 4th and 2, they ran quarterback power from an empty set, emptied the box, and attacked the middle linebacker on the play with the left tackle, Deion Dawkins. It's great design, great formation, great play. Josh ran for 7 yards, kept that drive alive. You're going to see, I think, in these championship Sunday matchups, you're going to see a lot of these teams in 4-down territory all game long. I think Buffalo will play that style of football. Washington, for sure, against Philadelphia, will play that style. They were 3 for 4 on 4th downs the other day against Detroit. Really helped them out. they trust Jaden Daniels with the ball, whether he's throwing it or whether he's pulling it down and scrambling. It's something to watch how many of these teams are in 4-down territory and where that starts. Does it start on their side of the 50? Does it start on the other side of the 50? Does it start at 4th and 1? Does it start at 4th and 5? Like, these are things that all these teams that believe in analytics factor in. In fact, I remember talking to Doug Peterson after he won the Super Bowl against the Patriots 8 years ago. And, they obviously, called the Philly special on 4th and 2, right before the end of the first half. And they executed it. And they got a touchdown out of the play. And it wasn't on their call sheet from the 2-yard line. It was on the call sheet from the 1. It wasn't on the call sheet from the 2. But they gambled, and the gamble paid off, and it was the difference in the game. And so these teams have gotten this far. You got a heavy underdog in Washington in a championship game on the road in Philadelphia. They beat the Eagles, 5 weeks ago after turning it over 5 times. But Jaden Daniels brought the team down the field in the final drive and scored touchdown throw to Jamison Crowder to win the game. It's something to watch in this game. The 4-down territory, the 4-down series that these teams have, and how aggressive they are going for it. I believe Nick Sirianni is a believer in that. What I was going to say about Doug Peterson was he made the decision to go for it on 4th downs on Wednesday. He wanted to take the emotion out of it. He was just strictly going by analytics. And the Eagles are a big analytics team. Analytics drive a lot of their decisions. And it gets the fans ruffled sometimes, but they believe this is how you win championships. Well, who's to argue? Right now, Jalen Hurts, if you take the Washington game out where he got hurt on the 12th play of Week 16 matchup, he's 12-0. He's won 12 straight games as starter. He's thrown 16 touchdown passes against 1 interception. He's been brilliant at taking care of the football. The stats might, say you can't win championships this way. He threw 20 passes on Sunday. 20. Completed 15 of them. He had 3 drops. He's averaging 21 pass attempts in these 12 wins. 21. So that's the formula. I don't think they're going to change much unless they fall behind quickly. But anyways, that's been the Best Football Show. There's a lot to talk about this week, building up to Championship Sunday. I'm heading to Mobile, Alabama on Sunday to get ready for the Senior Bowl. So I'll be watching it from there, but I'll be watching it and studying it. So we'll have that all broken down. But we have a lot to break down between now and Sunday. Come back and join me on the Best Football Show. Look forward to telling you a whole lot more about the upcoming matchups.